go.
This is a Golden Legend mini lecture on why people collect books. For three reasons, and they sometimes blend them all together. The first reason is they collect books to worship, to venerate, to appreciate, to symbolize. For example, this is a first edition of Shelley's The Revolt of Islam. It was done in 1818. You can see that the binding was added by someone who really loved the book, and he wanted to have a binding created that showed the spirit of the poetry, and especially the Islamic influences of the symbols on it. And I can tell you right now that this book was not to read. This book was to appreciate so that it would symbolize everything that Shelley meant to the owner. The second reason people collect books is to study their texts. This is a first edition, second issue of Lord Byron's Siege of Corinth and Parisina. It comes out in its original form, and I can tell you right now that this is not an object of beauty like the Shelley work, but it's in original state, and someone can study how the text of the first edition, second issue, differs from the first edition, first issue, and the third issue. So a collector of this kind of book, a book that they want to study for textual purposes, will collect every issue of Shelley and see how the editor or the author or the heirs change the text over time. The third kind of book is the book that's collected as an object of study for its format and for the way it draws the readers and for its type of illustrations and what it shows about the history of book production. This is an edition of Sir Walter Scott's Lay of the Last Minstrel. It's done 60 years after the first edition, and so there's no first edition collector who'd really want to touch it. It comes out in a fairly garish green leather binding, which was done by the publisher so that it would draw the reader to this kind of decoration. Well, that's really very interesting to those who want to see how the book extended its attraction. A book used its own rhetoric to attract a reader. It's the same way we go into a bookshop today and we find a dust jacket that's attractive and sometimes buy the book for no other reason. Also, if we look in here, we'll see that this book is illustrated with original albumen photographs which are tipped in different places throughout the book. And that's pretty interesting to anyone who wants to study how illustration was used and what form. When photographic illustrations first came into books and when they stopped being used for another form.